get started.
Sounds great. Well, greetings, everybody. My name is Gary Morris. I'm the Director of Career Services here at SUNY Oswego, and just very grateful for anybody that's popped by to kind of check out this Zoom. The purpose of this is just to describe a program that we have been doing for quite a few years. It's one of our more impactful programs, to be honest with you, and just wanted to get the word out on this. I have some great colleagues with me today who are going to kind of give their perspective on what their experience has been like on some of these things we call test drive your career trips. And I'll give them a chance to describe their experience in a minute, but we do have Diane Brand out of the Criminal Justice Department, Kristin Gublo from Chemistry, and Stephanie Wallace from our C-STEP program. And they've all had great experience with this, so it's really important that we get some of these voices on. But I thought first I would just go through a little bit of the nuts and bolts of what this is really all about. For us, it's in large part about career exploration. You know, our students are very capable of making great decisions, but they need great information in order to make good decisions, right? And so that's part of the process of this, is to provide them information so they can kind of bake that into the recipe of their career trajectory and figure out which path is best for them. It's aligned with so much of what career services is all about, which is helping students discover that amazing life that's out there. There are a few takeaways that we're hopeful for anytime we go out on one of these test drive programs. One is we really intend for students to have a better understanding of the career path that they're thinking about, not only how to get into that path, but how to move through that path, how to move up in that path, some of the benefits and challenges of working in those fields. It's kind of like, what's a really good day like, or what's a really challenging, maybe bad day like, and we all have those. And if you've not walked in those shoes, you don't really know. So we try to expose our students to information like that. We also try to get our students more information on what's expected of them if they choose to enter this career path in terms of skills, competencies, experiences, educational qualifications. What does their future actually demand they come to the table with, so they have a realistic picture of what's going to happen when they graduate, right? And then, of course, the contacts and the networking and meeting people out there and helping our students discover for themselves that they can actually pull this off. Many of our students, you know, they don't have these vast networks, and it's maybe the first time they've ever met someone out there kind of in the field. And it's always amazing how natural it is for our students to engage in this process, and they really step up into it. But for many, it's the first time. And so that's part of the process, is just to get them connecting with people in their career fields, off campus, and kind of have that experience and build that confidence. So a little bit about the nuts and bolts. Essentially, test drive your career is kind of what it says. We help students test drive on a very short-term basis what it's like to work in a specific career path. And so to do that, we take them off campus and we get them to a site with an employer. And there are a few components we try to build into each one of those visits. One, we get them there, right? We try to build in alumni engagement, and I honestly can't think of one organization on planet Earth where we don't have SUNY Oswego alumni. And these folks are wonderful partners, and they love to get back to Oswego in terms of their time and expertise. And when we're on site, we always ask for the alumni connection there, and we meet those folks. We'll oftentimes bring in whatever version of their human resources office there is, reps from those folks, and oftentimes their alums working in those areas, to talk to our students about opportunities like internships or summer jobs, part-time jobs, full-time, post-graduation opportunities. And so we expose them to that. And then, of course, you know, you can read, you can talk to people, you can do some research, but until you're actually walking down through the halls of that organization, you don't really have a good sense of the culture of that organization. until you're there. That's one of the most beautiful aspects of this program is it puts you right in that work environment so you can see what that's like, see what people are doing around you. And that facility tour is really pretty interesting. Diane has been on some really interesting facility tours. I've seen students' career trajectories change inside of an hour, either confirmed or confirmed not. And she'll have some interesting stories, I'm sure. But I would also say it's really nice to spend time outside of the classroom or the campus work environment with our students. And I see it over and over again as they're going through this experience. They always look to faculty and they're asking questions and they're making kind of connections, and light bulb moments are going off like, oh, this is why we're doing this in class, because I'm seeing it play out right here in real life. So that's really an interesting kind of tangible connection. And then lastly, we tend to eat. If we'll bring full-blown lunches along the way and we'll eat it on site, or we'll grab food there. If it's a shorter trip, we'll fill the van or whatever we're taking with kind of snacky food, whatever it makes the student experience a little bit more positive. And the good news is, the Career Services Office is very happy to handle as many details as possible on this in terms of, absorbing the cost of this, the food, the transportation, arranging that, coming up with drivers. Sometimes we'll go into environments where there's a security setup, and so we'll do all that paperwork as well. So we try to make it as easy as possible for our faculty and staff partners to take a cohort of students that they're interested in. Sometimes it's a student club and organization. Sometimes it's, they take a certain class and they bring the class down or whatever they can manage. Either way, they tend to be really good experiences. I've got just a few examples of places we've gone in the past. And as you can see, we're willing to, take students and faculty or staff pretty much anywhere that's going to help them refine their career aspirations and trajectory, right? So we've got, corporate business organizations on there. We've got theater and arts and entertainment. We've got healthcare, we've got human services, we've got technology, and that's just a small sample of places we've gone in the past. Currently, I am organizing a trip for our Student American Marketing Association group to go to Turning Stone to talk to them about careers at Turning Stone within the marketing field. I'm also going to get our supply chain and operations group down to Turning Stone probably in April. Also working with supply chain and operations to get them to Target Corporation, because Target, they are a huge retailer and their supply chain operation is second to none on planet Earth, honestly. So it'd be, trips like that are just really, really valuable. But enough about me. I would love to turn it over to Diane at this point. She's done this for years, and I know she'll have some interesting thoughts for you all to consider.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you, Gary. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm a faculty member in the Criminal Justice Department here, and I've been involved with this opportunity probably for the last 12 or 13 years. Our trips have mainly been to correctional facilities. There was one year that we went out to the New York State Department of Homeland Security, their training facility, but most of them have been at maximum security prisons, most notably Auburn Correctional Facility and Five Points. And I can't say enough wonderful things about what Career Services does. They do all of the arranging. They get us clearances. They take care of the sign-up sheet. They handle all of the details within the facility itself. As you can imagine, there's a little bit of red tape getting outsiders into a maximum security facility. But it's smooth, it's effortless and very seamless. They make arrangements to have members of the facility that engage in different occupations available. Generally, when we arrive, we're greeted by the different employees there. We get to talk to them, we get to sit down with them. They talk a little bit about what career opportunities are available. Typically, you would think it's just corrections officers, but there are teaching positions, social work positions. we get a nice exposure to the different opportunities, which is a great opportunity for our students. We go through the facility. We are basically allowed to go anywhere we want in the facility, with the exception of certain areas that might be closed due to conditions within the prison. As you can probably imagine, in a maximum security men's facility, sometimes they have problems and we are limited to where we can actually enter, but we're walking right through the hallways and through the courtyard, and we don't really get the chance to interact with the inmates. That's discouraged, but we get to experience, the entire existence of being in a facility. And they're wonderful about answering questions. There's no question that they won't answer. They have provided us with weapons that they've confiscated from inmates. They've showed us pictures of assaults and things that have happened in the institution. So with the assistance of career services, it's a great experience for our students. And we provide them with transportation. We provide them with a meal. And it's just, again, I can't say enough good things about it. It's a great opportunity for students to learn more about what career opportunities are available. And not all of them are criminal justice majors. Most of them are, but we do make it available if space permits. We're limited usually to about 20 students per tour. We do it every fall and every spring. We were on hiatus for a couple of years with the COVID pandemic, but now we're back in full swing, and we've already got April's date confirmed thanks to Kevin in Career Services. So we're going to be good to go.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. Always a great trip.
And
Thanks.
I will add that so far, knock on wood, we've got a pretty good track record. We come out of the institution with 100% of everybody that we took in. So we hope to maintain that 100% return rate. So
That's right.
but we're very safe. There's no problem there.
Yep. Yep. And such a tangible trip, right? You just,
Oh yeah.
you can't read about what it's like to operate inside of a prison until you've stepped foot in there. So,
Yep. We go through Auburn Correctional Facility. They make the license plates. So we go to the industry part, we go to the medical wing. It's just a great experience.
yep. 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 Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Stephanie Wallace. She's got some experiences and would love to hear from you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me and getting an opportunity to talk a little bit about one of the collaborations we did with Oswego with Kate George. She was amazing in helping set this up, which helped us a lot because running from C-STEP, we are a grant-based institution, so we have very little to no money to do things. So this gave us an opportunity to not only have another trip, it cut down some of the costs for us in terms of collaborating together. So that was wonderful. And it gave our students an opportunity to go to a setting, MMRI, which the Masonic Medical Research Institute in Utica. And that was an opportunity for our students to collaborate with other students that were not necessarily within their major or within their class. So that was a really great opportunity. So we had about 4 students go with us for this one. And it was really great because it wasn't just students that were focused on research. We had some that were looking into nursing, one that was potentially pre-med, one that was in law. The other was going for science and math education. So it was kind of a wide variety for our students. But they all took away something very different from the experience. And I just really loved that the researchers that run that institute all took time to really break down not only what it was that they were currently working on, about the past grants that they were able to gain, how that process goes for them to be able to get money and funding to be able to do their own research. The different individuals they bring in, because nobody is from the Syracuse or Utica area, right? They're all being transported. Most of them were actually Harvard graduates. So that was really cool to have that Ivy League connection and experience for our students. But they were so down to earth and so willing to help our students that even after we had that conversation, I actually had connected the main director of the department. It was about 6 months after the fact, with one of our students who was looking into going into biomedical research specifically and looking into doctoral level programs. Had no problem, met with them immediately, were super informative, broke down about their experience and kind of their experience through education, but also how they gained and got into the research, because our student was specifically looking to get into cancer research and the director had been doing that for quite a while. So it's just great to make that connection. I didn't even know that existed, and I was born and raised in Syracuse and then left as an adult. So it was really cool to come back and see that there's like a hidden gem really in our area. And when we were there, MMRI also told us that they were in the process of actually creating a medical school locally. So that's another connection that we hopefully are able to help connect our students with as they're trying to pursue further education and training. But also it gave an opportunity for our students to understand that they had an opportunity to process and apply for research opportunities with them, because they actually have several students that stay in the summertime and work on their research with them. And this is groundbreaking stuff that they were doing. They were doing research with COVID. They were doing research with all different types of cancer, and so much more. So it was really such a great experience. And all of our students, even the law one, was like, wow, I'm not even into this stuff, but this is something that I would want to come and do just to have the experience. And they were open to it. They're like, you don't have to come from a background of science to be eligible to learn something. And I think that that's very applicable to any student that's here at Oswego and beyond. So it was great.
Yep. That's amazing. I've been on a few science technology related trips, and as a psych major myself, I kind of walk around and I'm trying to pronounce the words and understand the sentences. But our students and our faculty are like, oh yeah, I got that. You know, we just talked about that last week in class, kind of thing. So it's so fascinating. Yep. And I have Kristin Gublo out of chemistry. She unfortunately was not able to join us today, but she did put together a very short video, and I'm going to try to play this and we'll see how this works out.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kristin Gublo, and I'm from the Department of Chemistry. So sorry I couldn't join everyone today, but I just wanted to share a few words about our experiences with Career Services on these field trips. So as you can see from some of our pictures here, chemistry has participated in quite a few of these over the years. From seeing how chemists are involved in glass research at Corning, contact lens manufacturing at Bauch Lomb, and how beer is made at Anheuser-Busch. Those are just to name a few. So if you're nervous about planning something like this, please don't be. Career Services made it so easy for us, from planning our transportation, arranging for snacks, completing paperwork for the security offices, you name it. I guess some tips. We would advertise our field trips as part of a chemistry club event. So that helped. We were able to use the chemistry club's funds to allocate some money for some of like our meals and things like that. So if you have an academic club, you might want to consider collaborating with them. And another tip is our students really enjoyed interacting with the alumni at these companies. So if you can arrange it, so your tour guide is an actual Oswego alum, or at least the students are meeting up with our alumni at some point during the visit, I think that would be wonderful. The students really enjoy those conversations. And it helps build connections with our students. I think that's it, but if you have any questions for me or you need some advice, I'd be happy to help you plan your next field trip. Take care. Hello, everyone.
All right. And lastly, we try to assess the impact of these trips. This is a snapshot of one semester where we were pretty active, and the number of students who responded to these questions. I won't read them all, but you can see that it's mostly in the high 90th percentile of students who have a better understanding of exactly what we want them to get out of this program. The follow-up with employers, that is a little less strong, right? That's, you know, high 80s, mid 80s, but that takes, you know, okay, now I got to call somebody, I've got to step out again. But still, the vast majority of students as a result of doing these trips, are ready to go out to other organizations and start doing that networking. I would have to say, as we wrap up, key to the success of this program is faculty engagement. I've taken students without faculty, right? And I can ask all the right career questions, but that subject matter expertise that faculty bring in connecting the classroom content and activities to real world operations, scenarios, conversations, that is irreplaceable. And so anytime we do this, we really strive to bring faculty along with us. It makes it such a meaningful experience. So highly encouraged. And I would say, career services, from our perspective, we think these programs are well worth it. They're super impactful. I believe the faculty that are engaged in this think it's worth it. And I would say it's an open invitation. If you are interested in taking a group of students anywhere, from here, we've gone to Albany, we've hit Rochester, we've gone Rome, Utica, Ithaca, Watertown. We're pretty flexible. We're looking for the best possible experience for our faculty and students along the path to understanding the career trajectories that our students want to go down. I'd say just drop us an email. We'll get back to you real fast. And so, yes, thank you so much. Yes, go ahead.
I got a question.
Yes.
So, Kristin had mentioned clubs and funding. So, for example, I am the faculty advisor for our honor society in health promotion and wellness. So it's ESG, it's a National Health Honorary Society. So we don't get any funding. And that's kind of been the sticking point, other than the dues the students pay, which essentially is just what gets them their cords and things like that. But part of the organization is doing professional things. So I have them doing things on campus, but I would love to take them to different places and do something like this. Just, I don't know how that would work. I don't know. Is there any way to get funding to do something like this from career services, or what does that look like?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
If you've got a great idea and a group of students who are eager to get off campus and kind of see what that environment is like, we will find a way to get you there.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to know.
So,
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll work with student clubs and organizations, and they'll want to fund it because they want to be good stewards of the money they've been given to do club activities. So they prefer to fund things, and we're okay with that too. But if a student club, a faculty, if they don't have funding, chances are excellent that we can figure out how to make it happen.
Okay. That's good to know. Yeah. Because there's definitely a lot of things that I've had in mind to do. There just hasn't been a way to get the students there, if that makes sense. So, okay.
Yep. Drop us
And
an email.
so just email career services. Okay. Perfect.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. Good question.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate everyone's time, and especially from Diane and Stephanie and Kristin. I so appreciate your perspectives as kind of the anchor of these programs in terms of making it as meaningful as possible for our students. Just really important work you do, and appreciate the engagement.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.